can come over here.
I'm going to talk to you about how to manifest anything. Thank you.
Thanks, Ross. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Professor Ray, for having me come in this evening. I met Professor, and he has a love for entrepreneurship and helping his fellow brothers and sisters. So I'm really well pleased that he had me come in today. I'm not sure, just on a couple slides, and of one thing, the initial slide's a little bit off, but Manifest Anything You Can Imagine is the title. It's the title of my most recent book. I've got 6 books that I've written, and I'll be discussing that with you, giving an idea as I go through. So it's about manifesting anything you can imagine. I do a lot of work in Central America, South America as well, outreach in a lot of countries in Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, and a couple of other countries there as well as in the Philippines. So just looking forward to sharing this with you today and just having you open up your mindset and just seeing how I may be able to help you, at least stimulating a couple of thoughts, a couple of ideas. So I'll go ahead and kick it off for you. Just a disclosure, everything that I do is paid for, so everything I do is free for our fellow brothers and sisters in need. So my target audience is our fellow brothers and sisters anywhere across planet Earth who don't have anything. So I was just meeting with a group. We're reaching out to Bogota, Colombia last week, and 1% of Colombia is owned by, the 99% is owned by 1% of the population, okay? And 99% of the population says, Pappy, we make $300 a month is how much an average household makes, $300. We got to find a way out from here. So we all have food, clothing, and shelter, but what do we do after that with your mindset? And I'm just going to give you some suggestions today, and that's all I offer you is suggestions, just ideas. Maybe 1% of what I talk about today can resonate with you, and I'll go forward with you. But this is all sponsored by, you'll get to know a little bit about my company, Danusa Private Wealth, and I think maybe you can appreciate that. I'm sort of like an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. I got started when I was really young. My dad was a steel mill worker in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and bought a little grocery store. Worked in there for a while, grew up in a restaurant business, washing dishes and everything else. So a lot of good entrepreneurship stories. If you get a chance, my website is Pappy Mindset Coach. And again, everything I do is free. So I do free videos, free concepts to live by. And for some folks, if they got money, they can pay for this stuff. But right now, nobody's paying for anything. But if you like to go on my website, Pappy Mindset Coach, you can just click on, I'll send something free out to you every week. And when I talk to you a little bit here, you don't realize like how bombarded you are by a lot of negative information from everywhere. And you'll see that on some of the slides that I have. If you would like to subscribe, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and on X and on Twitter. And that's on the back. I gave everyone one of my 4 pages. That's on the back, just on the QR code. You can scan on there, whatever one of the social media platforms you're on. I'd love it for you to subscribe and follow me and share this message of hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind with anyone else that you know as well. This is the group I was talking about, the Freehold School in Kenya, Nakuru, Kenya, about 3 or 4 hours outside of Nairobi. I got to meet Madam Pamela. She's a guidance counselor and teacher. It's like, Pappy, we're up against it here. I mean, when you hear the stories about what people in certain countries, just what they need to do to get through a day, she says, we need some hope, we need some inspiration. That's how I met her. That's how the universe works. You put a vibration, somebody picks it up. So this is part of our Paying It Forward program through Danusa Private Wealth. I and my team pay for everything, for all the outreach that we do every year. And this is a great program. There's about 1,100 students here in Kenya. I teach a class on average about once a month, twice a month, 60, 70, 80 students in a class. And they love manifesting, the law of attraction. They love it. They absolutely love it. And I'm here today, first and foremost, to help you, to help any person, any individual in this room. I look at everyone as my fellow brothers and sisters. So I'm here to help you. And then after helping you, if you have any contacts, if you have anyone that you know to collaborate with me, say, hey, Pappy, I know this group. I just got a text earlier this morning from a woman from Cleveland. I presented to an inner city group there. She's like, hey, I'm head of the Midwestern group, the Black Girls Social Society is the name of the group. That's the name of the organization. She's like, man, we love this message. You presented in the inner city in Cleveland. Can you please present to our group? A bunch of very successful female entrepreneurs in the Midwest. So my job number 1 today is to help you. And number 1A is for you, if any of you in here, and it may come up 3 months, 3 years from now, I say, hey, that Pappy guy, let me send something out to him, and I got this group, I got this organization. That's how I met Professor Ray, presenting to non-for-profit organizations over in Ybor City at the 1 Million Cups. And there's a lot of groups there, hey, Pappy, we don't have 2 nickels to rub together, and can you help us? How can we do this? So I'd like to collaborate with you for you to make warm introductions. This is my audience, underserved people, communities of color, single-parent households, real plain English, those amongst us who have nothing. Wayne Dyer, God bless him, Wayne Dyer passed away a few years ago. One of his famous quotes was, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about your mindset, and just keep an open mind. I would just love if you could just open up for a little bit. Just give me like whatever this is going to be, 90 minutes at the maximum. And just open up and think of things differently. If you're sitting and you've got a challenge and you're sitting at your kitchen table, your dining room table, let's just say it's bills, because that's one of the biggest ones people have challenges with, and you're looking at your bills, either physically or electronically, and you're like, man, I'm underneath it. I got this much coming in. I got that much going on. I got this much, and you're getting in a bad mindset. Get up from that chair and go sit somewhere else and look at your bills. Get up at the chair and go sit at another seat at that table and say, how would whoever you think a lot of, how would they look at that? And I will guarantee you that some billionaire or multimillionaire, just someone, not about money, but someone could look at that same stack of bills you have and say, you know what? You move a little bit of this over here, you take a little bit of that, that'll clean it all up, just like that. There's a entrepreneur in the United States of America, or on earth, I'll just say that, an entrepreneur on earth. They're the true story. They do something for a living. So I'm not want to get too specific with this, but they do something for a living and they're a professional. And they are in a profession that there are thousands of professionals like them in the United States, in Europe, Africa, the Philippines, Far East, China, everywhere. Do the same thing. This individual wakes up one day and says, you know what? If I were to do this, move a little bit of this over there, move a little bit over there, I could put this together. I could take out and package this, and somebody will pay me money for this. This individual, doing something that thousands and thousands of people do all across the planet Earth, puts this deal together, and how much does he sell it for? He sells it for over $1 billion. A billion with a B as in Bravo, not a million, $1 billion. Very, very smart individual. They saw something tens of thousands of other people who had the same college degree, credentials, everything else we're looking at, and they looked at it with their mind in a certain way, using your imagination. That's where everything starts. That's where all the magic happens, with your imagination, using your mind and creating thoughts, and they did it a certain way. That person was very, very smart. How can you top that? Well, who did they sell that to? Sold that to somebody for over $1 billion. The person who wrote the check and bought that business off of that individual, that entrepreneur, for $1 billion, turned around and sold it for $20 billion. Same exact stuff, same thing. All these thousands of people are all looking at the same thing. It's like you can't see the forest for the trees, and that's what I'm talking about today, to open up your mind. And this is not about money. It can be about money today. It's about health, wealth, and happiness. And happiness is a big category. One of the things I love is love and relationships, families, partners, whatever you want in life. You can manifest anything you can imagine. And that's what I'm going to talk with you about today and give you some examples. You may be surprised at some individuals and some people who've been able to do this who maybe you didn't know about anything that they did. So this is a great way to open up. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So God bless you. Wayne Dyer passed away a few years ago. I say namaste. The spirit in me greets the spirit in you. The spirit in me greets the spirit in you. And I only offer suggestions to you. I don't talk about religion. I will tell you that my orders are to stay as high as possible and as neutral as possible. So I come from a perspective of spirituality, I will tell you that, and it's all neutral. I never talk about religion. I don't say anything about religion, anything about that at all, but I do come from a high level of spirituality, and I will say the spirit in me greets the spirit in you. Each of us, my suggestion to you is that everyone in this room and all 8 billion plus of our fellow brothers and sisters have a perfect spirit, have a perfect spiritual DNA, and have a perfect spiritual spark. So you hear me refer to that, and I'm just offering suggestions. Just take that in. If that's not in agreement, no problem. Just to let you know where I'm coming from. Pure spirituality, as neutral as can be. I don't pick sides. I don't make suggestions or anything else. So you hear me say words like universal intelligent, universal light. Maybe you've heard a phrase like universal subconscious mind. You know what the creator of all is in your heart of hearts. I never define that for you. You know what that is. I'm just coming at this topic from a perspective of pure spirituality. Again, I only make suggestions. You all decide. You all are the boss. You rule your life. You make the decisions. I'm only here today to offer suggestions. And the first thing I would say is, I talk about to try to keep it simple. You can have the wheel of life and all these different analytical tools, but I just say if in your mind on a piece of paper, if you had marked on HWH, H is for health, W is for wealth, and H is for happiness. I just say this Pappy guy's talking about this stuff. Some sounds a little woo. Maybe some of this stuff he's talking about today. Just give yourself a grade for health, wealth, and happiness. What grade would you give yourself for health? What grade would you give yourself for wealth? What grade would you give yourself for happiness? Now, maybe even in addition to you, there may be a loved one. Somebody's like really, really, really close to you. Maybe he's having a challenge with health. Maybe they're having a challenge financially, partner, whatever else it could be. This may be information you may relay to this individual that may be able to help them an awful lot. So even if it's not in your mind directly applicable to you, you may be able to turn a loved one's life around or someone that you care about by sharing this information with them. So I say just go ahead and give yourself a grade. If it's, I say, Professor, with all due respect, if this is an A+ on all three, then they don't need to listen to me. If they got it all figured out, then we'll write a book together and we'll put that out. But typically I find folks that they're not an A+ in all three categories, and happiness is a real big one. Like I said, relationships, love, life, partners, family, etc. My why I did this, when I figured out, when I cracked the code on this, on manifesting anything you can imagine, where we're all at in life right now, we've all manifested every single thing in your life is where you're at right now. You've done that. You've created the life that you are living right now. And I wish I could help this is my Italian grandma on the left. She was born and raised in Naples, Italy. My Polish grandma was born in Warsaw, Poland. So she's born in the slums of Naples, Italy, the ghettos of Warsaw, Poland. That was my mother. And they went through a lot of stress in life. My Italian grandma had 13 kids, and they grew up in a 2-room house. My grandfather came here, didn't have a job, from Naples, Italy, and worked in a steel mill outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for 45 years, 6 days a week, raising 13 kids off of like nothing. And the look in their eyes whenever they would tell me their financial challenges that they had, my grandmother was maybe 5 feet tall with her shoes on, and when I asked her, well, how did she come to the United States and how did she die getting over here, she said, I could no swing at a ham. I said, Grandma, what are you talking about? She said, I could no swing at a ham. And I said, what? She's talking about, she's showing me. I said, you talking about a sledgehammer? She said, yeah. And I said, what are you doing with a sledgehammer? She graduated, she had a 3rd grade education, and the only way she could make money was to go onto the fields, into the stone quarries in Italy and swing a sledgehammer. She said, she looked me in the eye, I was about that tall in her apartment down in Midland, Pennsylvania, a little steel mill town. She said, I thought I was going to die. I mean, I wish I could tell her what I'm telling you right now, that what she had control over, that she never learned or no one ever told her about any of this at all. She thought, there's 2 ways we can go. You can go using your thoughts and using your mind, or you can use the sweat off your brow, the ache of your back, the soreness in your shoulders, whatever else it is. You live in a thought world or a physical world. That's a big fork in the road in the highway. And I'm just making some points today to just think about this thought world that we live in. So the looks I saw in their eyes when they were up against it, the lives that they live, and I love them, they were wonderful people, but they live very tough, challenging lives. Literally, like I said, the slums in Naples, Italy, the ghettos in Warsaw, Poland. And my mother, when my father passed away when he was 50 years of age, had a challenging life financially. So can you imagine that life success depends on what you believe about the universe? Do you believe the universe is friendly? So this sort of is like, a lot of what I talk about today is everything outside of you, what do you think about that? And then everything inside of you, what do you think about that? Now, if you say, Pappy, you seem to be, I talk about, my message is one of hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind. See, Pappy, that's a lot of words. You got less words than that. I got one word to describe what I'm about, love. That's what the whole universe is about love. So do you believe that everything out there is engaging, that you can have what you want if you approach it a certain way, if you speak the language of the universe for how we're supposed to be? So do you believe that the universe is friendly? That sounds like a sort of a touchy-feely question. I give credit for the person who asked this question. His name is Albert Einstein. Ain't nobody more quantitative than Albert Einstein. That was one of Einstein's famous questions. He said, do you believe that the universe is friendly? So I just have a few here. This is not to like even spend too much time on them, but what I talk about is the universe is the most well-run, synchronized entity you could ever possibly imagine, all operating off of what are called universal laws. And you think about these laws, you've heard of the law of gravity. We all know about gravity. If I asked anybody here, if we said, Professor, probably be fair, if I said, if you could write out the formula that describes gravity, you'll give them an A or a 4.0 and give them the rest of the semester off if they could write that out. I never met anybody who can write out the formula for gravity or understands that or anything, but we all know, yeah, gravity, it's out there. So whether you understand it, whether you can calculate it, whatever it is, these are omnipresent, they're ubiquitous. These rules are everywhere. Law of energy, transmutation of energy, law of increase. Thank goodness for law of increase, because that's whatever you want in your life, it's out there if you want more increase. Abundance, belief, law, the law of vibration. We'll talk a lot about the law of attraction. You are a magnet, like attracts like. The law of creation, assumption, etc. I'm going to refer to the key ones. These are ones that are more specific for what you're bringing into your life right now. And these are suggestions that I'm making to you. The law of energy, law of increase, the law of abundance, the law of cause and effect. That's also referred to as the law of karma. The law of cause and effect, the law of belief, the law of faith. This is in a tie for number one, as above, so below, how your mind works. I'll describe that in just a little bit. Then you get to the heart and soul of everything, the law of attraction. You are a magnet, like attracts like, and then the law of proactive creation. And I say proactive because there's proactive creation or reactive. You are drawing everything into your life right now that you are experiencing. Everything you have in your life, all of your experiences, either positive or negative, you've drawn into your life. The law of assumption, through your feelings. So the magic starts with your thoughts, and then the secret sauce is when you apply emotions to your thoughts. That's the key, when you apply emotions to your thoughts. And then you have to take action. So the law of inspired action and the law of gratitude. So what I say is, all these universal laws are what I refer to as the bottom line on the bottom is the game of life. And these are the rules of the game. So if one of us was going to get picked up by our coach and we think we're going to the game, whatever the game is, and you got your swimming trunks on and you're getting a ride to the game, and you go and they let you out, you walk down the hallway and walk out there, and you're on the football field for U.S. football. Everybody's got football helmets on, shoulder pads, everything else. And that's the game. You got your swimming trunks on, you're going to get your butt kicked. Now, conversely, you think you're going to play a football game. You get on, you get in the car, you got your football helmet, 20, 30 pounds of gear on, shoulder pads. They take you into the indoor facility, and you go, and they're like, go up on that platform. You're going to swim from this end of the pool to the other with your football uniform on. So in anything you do, you have to understand the rules of the game. Those laws that I showed you a little bit ago, I would offer you a suggestion. These are the rules of the game of life that we're all experiencing right now. These are the rules of the game, and if you understand how they work, so once you figure out these rules, and you say, okay, I understand this, and you understand, here goes where I get a 2 at, that's where I get another 2, and if you want a 4 for an answer, if you know how to get a 2 and a 2, and you present it to the universe, you must, by universal law, be presented with a 4. New house, new car, job, career, promotion, whatever it is. Partner, love, whatever it is, any category. So I think about that we all are eternal spiritual beings. I'm talking about spirituality inside of a physical 3D body. That's where I'm coming from, that we're eternal spiritual beings inside of a physical 3D body. I will say affirmations. You can offer up, you can do this a number of different ways. You can do it through prayer. A lot of people are manifesting through prayer. You're thinking, you're being very involved, you're applying emotion to it. It could be prayer, it could be mantras, it could be intentions, it could be affirmations. You know, I say, I am so happy and grateful now that universal intelligence, universal subconscious mind, universal light, source power, source energy, created a perfect and infinite universe of universes. Perfect and infinite. Our human minds, we can't get our human mind around something that's perfect and infinite. Now, I'm no math whiz, but what I would recall, don't quote me on this, but I think it's pretty close to this. If you travel at the speed of light, and let's say where Professor Ray's at that corner, up there in that elbow, up in the ceiling, that's one end of the known universe, and this other corner, this wall, is the other known end of the known universe. I think it takes something, don't quote me exactly, but it's something along the tunes of 90 billion light years, 90 billion light years, to travel from one end of our universe to the other end, 90 billion. What's the furthest we've ever traveled as human beings? And I'm not joking when I say this. Let's just say that we have been to the moon, okay? I'm not, we'll just give it that one. 1 second. We've traveled 1 second at the speed of light. It takes basically a second to get to the moon, whatever it is, it's seconds. And how can we think that we understand everything that would take 90 billion years to traverse this whole thing, just this universe? The universe says, so universal intelligence says, Pappy, there's other universes out there, not just this one. But let's just go with this one for right now. So there's a lot out there that we don't understand. So we live in a perfect and infinite universe of universes. I'm even more happy and grateful now that universal intelligence has extended an offer to me, has extended an invitation to me and taught me and educated me about the thought world that I live in within this perfect and infinite universe. Now, I wish I was as young as you, and I got to be careful with not with manifesting, but from a gratitude perspective, but I wish I had heard this when I was your age, decades and decades ago. I didn't figure this out till later in life about how I would suggest to you that the universe works. I wish that I knew this sooner. Now, I was mentioning earlier, are there people that say, Pappy, I think you're full of it? Yeah, there's people that say that. I have no problem with that. Now, are there people that say, Pappy, I heard what you said, and I think you're full of it, and it would tell me something like that, and then they call me up 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years later? There's a lot of those people. They say, Pat, man, this thing just went off, and now I'm thinking differently. Can you help me out? Can you share some ideas with me? What can you do? I get contacted later on, weeks, months, years later, by an awful lot of individuals. And I am most happy and grateful now that universal intelligence knows my name and truly loves me and cares about me and wants to, the key word is co-create. You are all part of source energy. That's where everything came from. You have that inside you, that perfect spiritual spark. You have source energy inside of you, and this ability to co-create is what it's referred to with universal intelligence. So I sum it up, I say any thought that you hold in your mind, so this all starts with a thought, single time you're using your imagination, think up above your head, and you're creating thoughts. That's where the magic happens. Any thought that you hold in your mind, either good or bad, will immediately begin to find its most ideal path to develop physically into form. Know that everything in your life is created twice. First in your mind, and second, the physical object back of it is completed. Has anybody ever heard of the movie called The Secret? Has anybody ever heard of that movie? It's maybe a professor has. The Secret, if you get a chance to watch this 90 minutes, you can learn an awful lot just by watching the movie for 90 minutes. It's all about this and gives you a real good idea. It was like a blockbuster kind of thing. It was like an independent documentary type of thing. But it was very, very good. But Rhonda Byrne, who wrote the book that it was based on, and she was the director and producer, she underplayed the action part, that you must take action. So this isn't just like you're just sitting there thinking and you don't do anything and a brand new Corvette or some sports car shows up in your driveway. You start this process with your thoughts, and then you finish it with the physical object back of it is completed, but there needs to be action. I call it efficient, inspired action that you perform. So the great news that I say, it does not matter who you are, what your past is, where you're from, you can do this. Your past does not dictate your future. We all are on a level playing field as far as being able to manifest anything we can imagine. There is what I call, what the universe refers to as creative power that lives within us. Creative power lives within every single fellow brother and sister. So I tell a little story and I say, let's say if you can imagine in your mind that you just sort of wake up and you are standing in a wheat field. Let's say the wheat's really high. It's up to here, up past to the bottom of your torso. And you're standing in a wheat field and you're like, man, what am I doing out here? Like noticing, hey, I got no clothes on. I'm standing in the middle of a wheat field. And as far as I can see, it's a wheat field for like hundreds of miles all the way around me. And you would say, what am I supposed to do here? And let's say you're having a talk with the powers to be. Say, what gives here? Like, how am I going to succeed? Like, here I am standing here all by myself, just standing in the middle of a wheat field with nothing on. Source energy, source power would tell you, I have given you everything that you need to succeed. You have everything that you need. You have creative power within you to be able to manifest anything you can imagine. You would not be placed here without the ability. The universe guarantees that we all have the ability. We all have the ability to be successful and to prosper, to be prosperous. So I talk about 10x goals. There's a no goal, K-N-O-W. So we're getting sort of back to the entrepreneurship thing here a little bit, Professor. So there's no goals, I call them K-N-O-W. So if you're talking to an entrepreneur in December, I'm talking to them, say, what do you think you could do next year in sales? They'll say, yeah, I think I could do 10% more. Well, how are you going to do that? Oh, well, I'll do it. I work a little bit, maybe a little bit overtime, whatever else have you. Okay. Let's push it a little bit more. What else? And you say, well, I got a think goal. I think I can do it. What's that? I think I can increase my sales 20% next year. Well, how do you think you can do that? Well, I'm going to work some weekends, maybe take out a little loan, do a marketing campaign, work a little bit more on the weekdays. I'll get it done. That's not what we're talking about here. What I'm talking with you about is a 10x goal. I'm talking about a 10x goal. I'm talking about, and when I mention human beings' names, I am extraordinarily positive, but I don't want to overstate the obvious, but we're all flawed as far as human beings go. So when I mention names, don't think about, oh, well, I heard they did something. All of us, there's stories with every human being out there, so don't worry about that. But how does Jay-Z, growing up in the hood in New York City, go from a net worth of $0 to 2 or 3 billion? Exactly by what I'm talking to you about today. Exactly by what I'm talking about today. Beyonce, exactly the same thing. Now, some people may approach it a little bit differently. Jim Carrey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lady Gaga, Oprah Winfrey, you name it. Now, I'll mention a few folks today, but they got to the same place. You can't get from 0 to $1 billion, or in a certain, it could be your relationships, love life, partners, whatever it is, by doing things with your conscious mind. You tap your subconscious mind. And I'll show you even academic research as far as how much of what you accomplish on planet Earth is accomplished through your subconscious mind. So I'm here to shine what the universe refers to as universal light, to shine universal light on you that you have creative power inside of you, and each of you are not just special. Every person in this room is very, very, very special. You have no idea how special you are. So I was saying earlier, like, Pappy, do you ever get into it with anybody? I don't get into it with anybody, but is there ever any disagreements? You're saying like you're about hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind. And if you sum it up in one word, Pappy, it's love. So you don't ever, every now and then, there'll be like a conversation. You said, Pappy, what are those conversations like whenever somebody takes the opposite side of you? And I'll say these conversations are very interesting. And the reason they're very interesting is that the individual I'm talking to, I'm telling them and taking the side that they're very, very, very special. And what are they telling me? Pappy, I'm not this special. That's what they're telling me. Human beings are telling me, Pappy, I'm not that special. I'm not this special. I'm telling you, you are very, very special. What's the other point that they'll say is, I'll say that you have a cornucopia. You have an unlimited supply. You're like a chef that has unlimited food in your kitchen to be able to prepare any meal that you want to. And what was that first question I said that Albert Einstein came up with? Your success will be determined a lot in life by, do you believe the universe is friendly? You believe it's friendly. You believe there's assets, there's resources out there, there is ability out there for you to co-create with it. You can have anything that you desire. I will always be on your side. I will always be telling you how there is assets and resources and ability out there for you to be able to manifest anything you can imagine. Maya Angelou says, ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. Sometimes the simplest things we can forget, or we can omit them or what have you, but the rule with the universe is you have to ask. And it sounds simple, but you have to ask. You have to be confident, and you have to ask for what you want. So my mission, this is an organization I worked with not too long ago, is to inspire and provide free mindset teaching and coaching to underserved people, communities of color, single-parent households, and women and children in need to manifest and take action through self-improvement and personal development in order for them to create and live their best life. So if you want to use like mainstream words for it, self-help, self-improvement, personal development, I think it's a lot higher level than that, but for individuals to like internalize this. And so if you could say with the school in Kenya I'm working with, yeah, self-help, self-improvement, personal development would be the sort of clinical definition of what we're trying to accomplish. So if you can think it in your mind, with the emotion of your inner child, you can hold it in your hand. Some folks, you can talk about Christmas. I use that example. Maybe it's not for everybody, but if you think of some things, if you think about a movie, if you can think it in your mind with the emotion of a child on Christmas morning, you can hold it in your hand. So if you can think it in your mind, that's all that's stopping you. That is the only thing that's in your way. Everything's created twice. First in your mind, in your thoughts, and then the physical object back of it. You work on that, it will be delivered to you. It has to by universal law. So this is where the sort of the magic happens is that we have no clue how powerful we are. So this universe is a non-verbal, non-linguistic. So remember, 90 billion years, there's 90 billion years of stuff, planets and galaxies and other life forms, all kind of stuff out there. From that wall, 90 billion years to get over here, and all we know is 1 second, maybe from here to the moon. That's all we've experienced. This whole universe communicates non-verbally. Thought, non-verbally. There's no thoughts. And if you see anything out there, you'll start to notice, you're on the internet, you see somebody had a near-death experience, whatever else it is, they're all saying the same thing. There's no words that are involved with any of this. I mean, any example that you can see, people saying the same thing over and over again, it's non-verbal, non-linguistic. So how powerful is every individual in this room? As powerful as you can possibly imagine, that you came here and you have the ability to harness and direct energy. I'll show you in a little bit. People are a lot smarter than I am. Let's see what they say about energy in just a moment. So your thoughts harness and direct energy. And it's energy that creates matter, and it's matter that creates things. They're just finding out, the scientists, I think, Professor, just came up and seeing that matter, they've finally been able to almost, from an empirical perspective, from a scientific